Today, I'm going to be choosing my fantasy football lineup. First, we're going to start with my quarterback, Deshaun Watson. He is a very elite player, and he's also very consistent. He usually gets around 18 to 20 points every week, but one week, he just didn't do good and got 9, but other than that, he's very consistent. I'm going to start him over Baker Mayfield because Baker is new to the league, and he's not as consistent because last week he threw 3 interceptions, and that makes his points go down very much. I'm also not going to start Jameis Winston, even though he's projected more points, because he's a little more new to the league, and he doesn't have as good wide receivers as Deshaun Watson does. Now, second, I'm going to start as my running back, Ezekiel Elliott, because he's also a very elite player. He plays for the Cowboys. The Cowboys don't have a very good passing game, so they have to run the ball, and that's where Zeke comes in. I'm now going to start Tariq Cohen as a running back too, because he had a big week last week with 22 points, so that means the Bears are going to want to try to run him again, see how good he can do. He's only projected 10 points, but projections can change very much in game time. Now I'm going to start Adam Thielen as a wide receiver because he's very consistent every single week. He's projected 11 points, and that's still a lot of points, but it's less than what he usually gets. And I'm not going to start Landry because he plays for Cleveland, and his quarterback's Baker Mayfield, and he's coming off a really bad week, so they might run more. And then Landry is also very inconsistent because one week he got 1, and then the next week he could get 10. Next, I'm going to start Corey Davis because he's just an elite player, and they play the Jaguars, but the Jaguars defense is very good, but sometimes you just got to have faith in your wide receivers. Next, as my tight end, I'm going to start George Kittle because he's very consistent, and he's projected 8.9, and that's a lot more than Jared Cook, who's only projected 6.7. I'm going to start Chris Carson as my flex. He is a running back for the Seahawks. He's projected 11, which is very good, featuring how he doesn't start all the time because he kind of splits it with another running back for the Seahawks. I am going to start Bears defense over Lions defense because the Bears have just a more elite defense, and they have Khalil Mack, who averages at least a sack per game. And that's better than the Lions defense because the Lions defense is very inconsistent, and they play Arizona, who had a very good game last week. Lastly, I'm going to start Greg Zuerlein as my kicker because he's averaging 10, and that's very good for a kicker because he plays for the Rams, and the Rams score a lot and get into the red zone a lot, so that means they need to kick field goals and extra points. So right here is my fantasy lineup for this week.